Call Deb.
Calling Deb Curley.
Call Missy.
Calling Nippy.
Hello, we are waiting for connection at the Grange before the meeting starts. Hello, someone just dialed back in. We're waiting for connection at the Grange before the meeting will start. They are a little bit behind. So word is they're setting up the equipment right now. I would assume we'll be starting in just a minute or two. Niffy, I see that you're logged in. I think that you'll have to unmute if it's going to be broadcast live.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear the caller.
Okay, it's Dee Dee, so I can hear you.
Yeah, I think since Niffy's launched his computer from the Grange, I'm not at the Grange. He's going to have to,
Oh, okay.
Niffy's going to have to unmute his so that way the Zoom audience can hear the meeting.
Oh, and he hasn't done that yet, or what do I need to do?
Are you at the meeting? You're not at the meeting, are you? There he goes. Never mind.
No, I'm in Louisiana.
Copy that. It looks like he just launched.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect the Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, understood.
and it doesn't seem to be able to
I
find
can hear
it. So right now it's just coming off my laptop. There we go. New devices.
Find it.
Yep, there it goes.
Alright, yeah, you can start. Are we ready to start almost? Almost. Almost.
Okay, can y'all hear us?
I can
Yes.
hear you, Dee Dee Ramstead.
Okay, I think we can start.
Okay. I will call the meeting to order and welcome our guests. Thank you for coming. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible.
And I will call the roll. Mr. Primer. Here. Mr. Green.
Here.
Meredith here. And Niffy.
Here.
All right. Are there additions or deletions to the agenda? No? Okay. Moving on, I've got approval of the November 2023 meeting minutes. I'm looking for, those were the draft minutes. I'm looking for a motion to approve the November meeting minutes.
I move to approve the November meeting minutes.
Second? Second?
You can second.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
I wasn't here, so I'm not gonna vote.
Okay, we have an abstaining from both. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Hey.
One abstention and one nay. Okay. We'll start with the treasurer's report. That's you, Niffy.
So again, as I've been trying to do this a little bit more swiftly, I'm not going to read to you. Thanks again to Chris Creech as our bookkeeper for preparing the treasurer's report. We do want to note again that we have that kind of weird accounting thing going on with the donation, the grant revenue that was achieved or received by the district. And so that shows a little bit of funky accounting because it wasn't in our original budget. So it shows this $30,000 revenue, and then it comes right back out as an expense. Chris, correct me if I got that wrong. I think I got it right this time.
Yes, correct. That was correct.
All right, thank you. Noted items, again, our revenues coming in to end the year. We're on track with where we expect to be. We did have that from reserve, which is a stopgap, and that's just to make sure that we have the minimum balances in our checking account, and we're earning the highest interest that we can by keeping most of the money in our savings account. So that looks like a transfer from revenue, but it's just a stopgap to make sure we continue to fund the district. Chris, I think you said we might have to do one more before the end of the year. Is that correct?
I think it'll not happen until next year. We're going to hold some spending until 2024.
Okay, thank you. Again, what you look at on the line items from the budget, there are some that are over, there are some that are under. Net, we are under budget. We are sitting on still $430,000 in our bank accounts. We are that the amount that we have on hand is almost double what our expenditures are for the year. So we have a healthy cushion there. And we have about, I think, was it 5 times the available funds compared to our budgeted spend. So we're looking pretty good there. Are there any questions?
What's the interest rate that we're getting in our savings account?
Chris, do you know?
I'll need a few minutes to look that up.
Better than the checking account, I'll tell you that.
We can move on to the next thing while you're doing that.
Okay, all right, that's all I've got.
Okay, Kyle is not with us this evening. The chief's report was published on the website. So you can read it there. I just do want to go over just his first paragraph to be clear. After the failure of Proposition HH the state legislature passed 4 bills through the House that directly affect the district will not receive final tax valuations until January 3rd, which has delayed the ability for all special districts to file their budgets and certify mills until January. And that's the reason that we cannot vote on the budget tonight. We have to wait for the certification of valuation, which will come on or before January 3rd. So that's just an important thing I wanted to bring up. Yep.
The STA put out like some interpretation of that said that no matter what, we're supposed to get backfill or reimbursement. We'll see how that actually plays out. But if our revenue were to decrease based on these bills, we should have a stopgap that covers that for reimbursement from the state.
But it won't come to us until sometime later.
Right.
Okay. I
Okay.
wanted to ask about, Becca, stepping away from the job on the website. Is it completely done? I mean, is it just waiting for the state to kick it into gear?
That's a question for Kyle. I'm pretty sure it's done and it's waiting.
Okay,
Is there a way to see this website, or is it the same as I saw it this evening, or is it totally
We
different?
haven't, this is the one that the state has been working on. And it's ready, it's finished, but it has to be activated and all of that.
And it's board approved,
Yes.
and it was voted on, but what the
It
content
was,
was?
it was a free, yes, it was.
Move and have Becca develop a website for us.
I understand that part, but I don't understand just the content and where.
We haven't seen it yet, Steve.
See, so who is responsible for whatever content is on it, or there is no content, just a blank slate
The
right now?
content would be our existing archive. It would be the same thing of showing our minutes, our financials, our agenda for meetings, our treasurer's report, chief's report, et cetera. The existing content that you have for how to contact the district, bios for our chief, the staffing, how to join our district, et cetera. And the chief
Yeah,
is
got
the,
it.
say again,
I got it,
Okay.
but what about content for like board members?
what content for board?
I have no idea, but there are board members. Is there any content for board members?
We haven't seen it.
Has there been content for board members in the past?
Sure, there's always something.
names.
Names, and contact
Yeah.
info.
Yeah, anything that's on there now would be on the new
Well,
one,
my contact info is not on there.
on our present website.
That's right. Zero contact info, no phone number, not a email or anything, but everybody else's is.
Would you
That
us
wasn't
to-
like that before.
I'll take care of that.
And then sometimes there's been articles that have a political bias or leaning in the past. And well, there have been, for example, resolutions to hire the chief. Where the pro, and I was just
Okay.
wondering if there's any of those political arguments or articles that could stand to have a alternative point of view. Place.
Back to the, so your
Yeah,
first.
can we
thing was
come
about
back to
contact
that?
Information.
We can come
Yeah,
back.
resolutions are, when they're approved, are listed. Just the resolution, what it says. It's not a statement other than what the resolution was voted on and if it passed or not.
Well, in the past, it hadn't been that way, and that was my concern.
In the past, since we've been on the board?
Mhm.
No, I don't think so.
Sure, there was an article or a resolution promoted by Chris Creech for the hiring of the chief, which listed how he's going to be paid for, and there was no counter point of view.
So just coming back to your contact information, would you like your phone number on the website? Can you provide us with a phone number?
Yeah, like my phone number and my email.
I'll make sure
Or
that's
if
on.
your board, if you don't have a board email, we're not putting a personal email on the board.
I used to
website.
have a board email until you guys discontinued it.
That was because you didn't sign the policy.
I didn't sign the policy that says I wasn't allowed to share what the board does with the public. And that's the reason they wouldn't sign it.
Okay, let's move on. Can we go on?
Well, that's the reason. So I would like my email on there too. People are reluctant to communicate.
Well, I'll check on that. I'll check on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, community organization reports. Hi, neighbor. We want the auxiliary to go first,
Yeah.
please.
Conflict of interest.
I'm sorry.
Did we do conflict of interest?
I
Nope.
didn't, I passed that up. Hold on, Mary. 1.6, are there any conflicts of interest of the board related to any of the agenda items? None, okay. Mary?
Auxiliary had so many people in the community. That the big room says, some of the limited number of items, limited number, many items this year. We did make enough money at the pig roast to essentially cover all of the things that we purchased during this past year. So we're staying about level, which is a wonderful place to be for someone who's trying to help support any organization. And we are looking forward to the January 13th, 5 p.m. Applewood Vista location for our awards banquet. And we are, again, the auxiliary board that attends will be paying for their own dinners, as we have been doing for years. And of course, we would encourage you, fire board, to do the same, attend and cover the cost. We will let you know what that exact number is as we get a little closer and we have the final menu and the count. That will make a difference as to how the money will work. And so please mark your calendars, plan to come. There will be an invitation email, only an email. It will not be coming in paper, copied to you. So
Okay.
January 13th, 5 o'clock at the Applewood Golf Course place called the Vista, in their main building there. Lovely dining room area. And Chief is working out all the awards and things, so we're not involved with any of that. We never have been. That's always been only from the chief, his representatives. So
Last year was lovely. Was it a different place last year?
no,
Same place.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
same place.
And the year before that.
Oh,
They,
okay.
and the reason that we went back is because they are very competitive price wise. They
Food
are
was wonderful.
best price for the kind of meal that we feel we should be providing for the firefighters and their guests. So that's how it is that we've chosen our end of year meeting next week on December 13th at my home. And all members of the auxiliary are welcome to attend. We will be electing officers, and we are looking for a couple new officers. So we're hoping that we have a few additional people attend the meeting. That's my report.
Thank you.
Do you take questions? How much money was raised at the pig roast?
Approximately 20,000. I didn't carry the exact number with me, Steve.
Okay. Are the bank records for the auxiliary publicly open for the public to see?
They are available at our meetings, so that people can come and see that, as they always have been. And you are able to get, information. There was a fee attached to that at some point in time. $25, I believe, is what, if you wanted to have a print of information. We have no qualms about someone coming to our meeting and participating in the conversation and review of our.
Would that be $25 for the bank records for how many months? Per month?
I don't recall what we had said. I would expect that we would have to inquire with the bank. We haven't printed a long set of them. we look at that, we mostly look at the information online, except for the reports that are generated by our treasurer showing current balances, expenses, income, transactions, and everything. So there would be an end of the year report that you would surely be able to obtain.
No, what I
Is the auxiliary a public organization? 163. Is that corporation in any way elected officials that are part of official government of any sort?
No.
Is the intent of that organization just to help out the firefighters that serve in this district?
Mission is and always has been for the support of the firefighters, not the fire district, not fire chief particularly, but for the firefighters is our focus.
Thank you.
And that is where, we leave very good tracks about where the money goes.
So the next meeting is on December 13th,
Yes, it is
and it's at your home
at my home,
at 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Should I bring anything?
You don't have to-
Earlier, Mr. Green, you asked about the interest rate that we were earning on our savings account. It's 5.5.
5.5? Great, thanks.
Okay, Terry Grange. Thank you, Mary.
We just had a meeting right before this big meeting, meeting out. We're just looking forward to 2024. That's all I for. Have a happy.
And the same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 5.1 under new business. No, I'm sorry,
Old
4.1,
business.
Costco account and credit card. I did get information on what it would take to for the district to become members of Costco. I'm a little fuzzy on the details. I believe for there is an executive membership, which is $120 annually, or there's a business membership, which is $60 annually with an additional, I believe that covers two people. Additional to the two would be another $60. So that is on the agenda for action. And Iffy, that's your item.
So just to recap, I was looking at us potentially just being able to have the firefighters take advantage of the department, take advantage of the Costco membership and a credit card. There are different, there's like executive memberships, which gives you a 2% cash back. There's also, I believe there are corporate memberships where we can authorize more people to have membership cards, but I would assume we really only want the chief or a lieutenant.
Probably a max of 3.
Max of 3. So what I'm asking for is I'm putting forward a motion to authorize myself and the chief to go ahead and apply for the appropriate Costco cards and credit cards. We do get, again, 2%, initial 2% back with that credit card that we would use. And I think we would qualify for whatever we needed. And then our bookkeeper can make sure that those bills are paid. So this just helps us to, quickly, if we need to buy toilet paper or something in town, that the chief can get that. We're getting the best deal on it and we're getting some good money back. So
Will you follow up?
I will take the responsibility.
Okay,
So I'm
good,
asking the
because-
board to go ahead and authorize me and the chief to go ahead and get that done.
Okay, you want
Yes,
this? You'll go in. I know, I know, you know me and paper.
That's great.
Okay, want to make, did you
I
make a
made
motion?
my motion, yes. Is there a
I'll
second?
second that motion.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to know, besides toilet paper, what else would be purchased at Costco?
Whatever the executive deems necessary.
So food.
Mhm.
Is there an
Primarily-
approximate amount per month that you would
Usually
be buying there?
normal Purchases that they would be making in any other circumstance. It's just we're authorizing the chief to buy them through Costco as opposed to King Supers or something like that. So we have a budget that shows all the different things that we're going to be purchasing throughout the year. That includes the auxiliary's been providing a lot of food and things for their meetings and their business meetings. But if there's anything that the chief needs to buy as part of our budget to take care of our fire stations and our firefighters.
I understand that. That would be, of course, it's a fire district, so that goes without saying. I was just curious if there was a history of purchases that we've made at like King Supers that we alternate Costco for.
I believe that you can look at our transaction lists that are published every month and they can show you where we're making our purchases and from whom.
You don't have anything prepared.
We have a transaction list that is published every month that shows each of the items that we purchase for the district.
I understand. I just thought since it was your motion, you might have some supporting facts and figures.
All the paper products for all three stations are supplied by, run into King Super and getting it. So why not save some money?
I guess the question would be, does it save money? I
And the
mean,
convenience of it.
The, okay, you get 2% back. I get that.
Well, I'm
So
an
what's the
executive member.
difference in, giant
Buying
It's
bulk.
bulk, and I think anything that we're purchasing for the fire district, it makes sense to buy it in bulk as opposed to
True.
ones and twosies. I mean, I don't want to make some argument evangelizing for Costco, but
Well,
it saves money.
Let me
and
explain a couple things why I asked. I'm an executive member of Costco. The reason I'm a $120 executive member is because they gave me $70 towards a pair of eyeglasses, which is what I was spending it there that day. So it was free $70. But how would that work with the fire district? How are these personal benefits? Who would they go to? How
It's
do
not
they?
a personal benefit, it's a
Well, what's it
benefit to
like?
this district. This is a district Costco account, a district Costco credit card, just like our credit cards that we have, any benefits, the bank accounts, the interest. It's not for an individual, it's for this district.
But some of the benefits are more suited to an individual, like eyeglasses discounts. That's why I was asking.
We're not gonna be purchasing
Obviously, they're not.
I
eyeglasses.
know that, but you're missing out on the high price of the executive membership. High price comes back to an individual, not to an
It
organization.
doesn't go back to an individual, it goes back to the organization that is applying for the
I
card.
got that, Niffy. So why not get the cheaper membership?
Well, that's what.
Because we get 2% back. And if you don't cover the additional cost of the executive membership, that fee is waived. There's nothing, I do not imagine a circumstance under which this doesn't make sense for our district to do.
Wait, say that again.
So if
Say it
you,
again.
there's a delta between the cost for the regular business membership and the executive membership.
Gotcha.
$60. If you, through the course of the year, do not purchase enough such that you recoup that benefit of the additional $60, that fee is waived.
Oh, well, fine.
So.
Go for it.
It's a no-brainer.
See, that's a detail I didn't know.
That's fair. The extra $60.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I do.
They didn't tell me that at Costco. Okay.
And in order
I'll ask
to, in order to break even, it's $1,500 that we would have to spend, and that's to include the credit card 2% and the 2% executive. So we wouldn't be making any purchases with that card outside of Costco.
Right.
We're not purchasing, we would get 4% back on fuel up to $7,000, but we're saving a boatload more money by buying from the county. So
Yeah,
we
I do
would do
that.
that. So I easily see that we could spend $1,500 there and make it justified and
Well, this is why I ask those questions, because I get more information. When I ask more questions, get more information. It's a little slow, but comes up. Thank you.
okay. Any more discussion?
Call for the vote. All in favor of district Costco membership?
And credit card. Well,
And
it's to authorize myself and the
Yeah,
chief to-
authorize Nippy and Kyle to figure out which one to get and get it.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay, not enough info yet.
The motion passes. Okay, Costco. 4.2, this is you again, Niffy, electrification and resilience research estimates proposals.
So last meeting, I just wanted to have a discussion to talk about potentially how we can make our fire stations more resilient, make sure that I specifically talked with Garrett, about the example of when you lose power at certain stations and then you run out of propane, there are maybe 4 or 5 folks up here that know how to open those doors, and we're not in a good spot when that happens. Garrett explained in great detail the use of calibrated 2x4s, which you, after another, push up and successfully raise it up until someone can stand on the top of a fire truck and finally get the bay doors open completely. I think having a former, assistant chief and a former temporary interim chief explaining kind of the absurdity of that led to the credence of, hey, we need to figure out something else. Chief Benson's not here, but I wanted to recap that he also said if you build new fire stations today, they must be built with certain levels of resilience. I lose power all the time. That's why I bought batteries. And I got solar because I lose power all the time. We are putting our district in peril for something that's very foreseeable, a snowstorm. But what did we have, 80-mile-an-hour gusts today was what the forecast said. We will lose power, and we shouldn't, and wind leads to fires, and fires spreading quickly. We can't leave our district at that disadvantage. So what I was asking to do was to be authorized to start seeking proposals and estimates, looking into when I talk about resilience, what that means is battery backup and solar power, and electrification, which means moving away from having to periodically order propane because we had a water event. We ran out of heat, we ran out of propane, and it cost $3,000 worth of damage when pipes burst. And thankfully, we had members from the community that helped step in to fill that gap, but it's not necessary. And it shouldn't.
But that's unrelated to electrification.
That's completely related to electrification.
That's what you ran out.
Yes, if you are not dependent on propane running out, you electrify your building and your battery backup, then you're not dependent on propane, then your pipes don't burst. That's directly related to
You could
electrification.
have other problems with the electrical system in a solar power and battery operated system.
That is.
So those are all secondary, because I got the grants 6 years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago now, for the backup generator in Station 2. And I did all the studies and we got it installed. I don't remember what Station 1 and Station 3 had, but the whole reason for that backup generator was exactly what you're talking about. But running out of propane, and they should have I think they have a 500-gallon tank at Station 2. They should have a 1,000-gallon tank. But whatever it is, that running out was a mistake. We all know that.
Yeah.
That was an unfortunate mistake, happened. But that could happen with a battery too. There could be other problems. And I'd like to hear the estimates of the costs for the electrification.
Do you understand what my motion is for and what I'm asking for?
Not exactly yet.
I'm asking for the authorization to go get estimates and quotes to bring them back to the board. I did not want to go through all of that effort because it is time consuming to do these things without making certain that the board actually wanted to hear about them. So that is what I'm asking for, is the opportunity to research electrification, resilience, solar, and battery backup.
Can I ask a question related to that?
Sure.
That question would be, where's our backup generator right now besides Station 2? Do you know? We don't know then if 1 or 3 have it. 1 has it and 3, okay. And they're functioning and they have propane?
Station. Like, yeah, they left the door open, but the propane tank and
Something froze there, right? And there was
Yeah,
a leak
yeah.
in Station 3.
Like
Like 2 years ago.
Propane too, I believe. So back to your point, but yeah.
And there's also propane just costs more than electricity. So there's a payback thing here that's a concern as well, but we're not even talking about payback. We're just talking about resilience. There's no reason that in 2024, we should be at the whims of whether or not somebody checked that the propane levels were full, imperiling everybody that lives up here and people that visit our community. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I could make the same argument for the solar system.
But you could try to make that argument and you could be wrong. That's fine. Yes, sir.
You're on Station 3 when it froze up and broke. It was the night when we had a snowstorm. Me and Paul plowed down the road and the door was wide open.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we said.
And we went and looked at that and then there was water running out the door because when the door is standing wide open all night or even half a night, 500-gallon propane is going to run through that heater real fast.
The pipes are going to freeze regardless whether you have the solar or not. I'm not against solar, don't get me wrong. I haven't made a decision of my vote, but I know it's expensive. I'm researching it for my house right now. If I put it in myself with, it's going to be at least $10,000. And most likely, if you hire a company to put in, it's going to be 30 to 40,000 per station.
That's what we want to find out.
I'm trying to go find out, and there are lots of grants available that are out there, and they
Your
are
answer to it?
Rebates. Too.
rebates. So
Lot of rebates.
rebates, there's a lot of.
You hire, not when you do it yourself, the rebates aren't as there, really.
All I'm asking for is the authorization to go research this stuff and come back to.
I move that we allow, maybe, the authorization to research the problem.
I second, I move that you've always been allowed. I would never have stopped you even if you didn't ask. Certainly good information.
All right, any more discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey,
That was an eye for you?
I said aye.
Okay.
Okay, thank
There's no
you.
cost involved, right? Nick?
Time.
Granted, but is there any dollar cost to the district?
There should not be any cost involved in me doing research. I'm not asking to be authorized at any cost. I'm just saying.
That's what I
want the board's approval
Information.
To, before I go spend hours digging into something, I just want to make sure that we're actually interested in hearing about it.
It's
Thank you.
good info with you. I look forward to hearing it.
Thank you. Okay, ready for new business. I would like to call for a special meeting to approve the budget and the middle levy certification for January 5th. The information is supposed to come to us through the assessor's office on or before the 3rd of January, and yet the deadline to certify your budget and approve your budget and all that is the 10th. So
December, right?
of
It
January.
is January. this year
January
because of
10th.
that Delayed.
Yeah, because of the HH. So I would like to call a special meeting here at the Grange, 7 o'clock on January 5th. I think that's a Friday. We would have done Thursday, but it's Kyle's, one of his son's birthdays.
You have to be on the 5th. I'll be out of the country. I have to work.
It kind of has to be on the 5th, Steve.
I just want to clarify that our bylaws state that any director is able to call a special meeting and there's no vote on it. Once the director calls a special meeting, that special meeting takes place at that time. The only issue is whether there's a quorum or not, which requires 3 of the board members to be in attendance, either virtually or in person. So the fact that you've taken the courtesy of making sure that this is well explained here, there's really no further action needed other than you've called.
Okay.
that meeting.
Okay.
But it's nice to have cooperation.
Absolutely.
We talked about it because of the squinchies. Best case scenario, it comes before the 3rd. Worst case, it comes on the, you're gonna be out of town or you can zoom in.
Not be able to make that meeting.
Okay, well,
And I'll be in San Miguel de Allende and Querétaro
okay,
working.
I'll be here.
But I have another question. The next meeting after us on the 25th of January?
We haven't,
We'll get
we
to
haven't,
that.
we're gonna get
Saw
to
on
that.
the calendar.
Yeah, we're gonna go over the calendar. That's the next item. Okay, so the 5th it is. We will have a quorum.
I will be there.
I will be here. Okay, thank you. I have, there's a resolution that was circulated to the board to set the regular 2024 meeting dates and location. And this was Meredith's action.
We discussed it, gosh, back in September,
Yes,
about possibly moving the meeting dates to some other Thursday besides the 3rd Thursday. And we've all hopefully had time to think about that and make sure that it doesn't conflict with any other big problems. I believe that the chief would prefer it to be on the 4th Thursday. Because it allows for the
reports.
financial reports coming in from our accounts and so forth to get more complete by that time.
We also confirm that there are 4 Thursdays in every month.
Yes, I have,
Oh, yeah.
we have.
There's
the-
always 4 Thursdays in every month.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have, the resolution was printed on the website.
We have 5 Thursdays.
Yeah,
in,
there's sometimes 5
February this
Thursdays.
year, and so
Yeah.
it's a week.
The meeting place will be here at the Grange for the year. We're gonna try that for a couple of reasons.
For the whole year?
Yes. Because there's going to be random renovations going on at both Station 81 and 82 through the year as yet unscheduled. And rather than have a meeting at either one of the stations with paint fumes and who knows, carpet being torn up and what have you. This has not been scheduled or decided. Okay, but I know that Kyle is planning to start sectionally renovating each station in little small bits and pieces. So we're going to meet for the year here at the Grange. We've already checked the dates and they're all good. I do have a hard copy if anybody wants the schedule. Steve, would you?
Please.
And, but we need to vote on it.
Yes, we do need to vote on it. It's
So,
a-
Meredith,
it is a resolution.
yeah, Meredith can make the motion.
I move to adopt the resolution.
Fine. I second.
Any more discussion? Dave, would you like a copy?
Yes.
All in favor? You want to look at it first?
It would not, the only times when it would not be on the fourth Thursday would be
So
November, because that falls on Thanksgiving, and in December, when we have to, hopefully, if the state legislature doesn't screw around with the budget again, we would get the budget approved on that date, in time to make the deadlines for the mill levy certification and so forth. So,
Okay, all in, ready to call the motion? All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay, thank you. There you go, Meredith.
Thank you, Mary.
Welcome.
Okay, next is, what do you need?
Just to sign that.
Oh, you,
No worries.
yay. It is a resolution, so it has to be taken to the certification people, which I will do. Thank you. Public comment. Yes, sir.
I'm coming here to just to discuss about the mill levy rate. And with the increased valuations of property here, the board was thinking about, do they have the ability to actually lower the mill levy rate?
No,
No.
it has to be a ballot initiative.
If I was here one time.
I disagree. They do have
was to try to get something on the November ballot to do away with something that we had.
Yeah, that,
The other members said, no, we don't want to do that. One of the reasons was we could actually lower but this was happening a few months ago.
I remember.
So that's,
That was one of my, and I don't know if it was me that you remember.
I think so.
Yeah. My issue that I started having with ballot issue A was that it gave the board the mechanism to raise the mill levy, but it did not give the board specific ability to lower it afterwards. And that was one of my issues, but I've also, we've adopted a resolution with this board, and I think we've done it twice. The last two boards that have been seated have all said we're not using ballot issue A. But in order to lower the mill levy, that needs to be on the ballot for the community to vote on. And as far as I'm concerned, to raise it, this board isn't using ballot issue A, would also require a vote from the public.
let me read something from the governor of Colorado that was printed 3 days ago. He came out and said this is on Channel 9 News.
Oh, yeah, I know. He said, I know what he said.
So on December 4th, 2023, Polis said, and the author is Colorado Politics, Marianne Goodland. And the title of the article was Tension Grows. It's an actual video and a written article. Tension grows as Polis asks local governments to reduce property tax levy. That's mill levy. In a letter to local governments on Thursday, the governor effectively said the property tax relief adopted in the special session is insufficient. Now, I heard that property tax relief is a immediate credit of $55,000 off of everybody's assessed value. I can't verify that, but that's what I heard. So this is a quote from Polis. Now it's up to you, local elected officials, to do more, which is why I'm urging you to reduce the tax rate, mill levy in your district. Jerry Polis. I don't agree that This board cannot lower the mill levy rate.
You think we can?
I believe we can, because I don't think there'd be a person in this district,
What makes you
property,
think
wait,
we
I
can?
want to finish, please. I don't think there'd be a person in this district who's a property owner who would be opposed to that.
Our bylaws do not authorize this board to
Yeah.
lower.
Colas can't
That's
just.
an issue A did, and you guys supported that.
Here, I didn't even live here, so I
That's
don't.
my opinion.
Can't have an opinion about something that's an abject fact. I didn't even know that this fire
Fact, and I can't
district
have an opinion on
existed.
something. You can't tell me I can't have an opinion. That's ridiculous.
Anyway,
Okay,
do you have your questions answered or have you?
well, if you lower the.
Governor Polis is suggesting that we can, but it would take a lot of research. I don't believe we
There
can,
are
but
other districts that might have the ability for the boards to just raise and lower the mill levy. This board does not have that ability.
Especially-
So,
Okay.
since the assessments are already in and all that, what is gonna be the increase in the revenue to the department?
30%.
30%. And
No.
they're gonna backfill anything, whatever the legislature has done, is gonna be backfilled. So we're gonna get an increase of 30% in the budget.
According to the budget, 2024 budget published on our website, we're gonna get, the estimated revenues are $291,222. That's an increase of approximately, well, last year we got about 212,000. So there's going to be an increase from 212 to 291,000. I think that's more than 30%, but
Yeah.
I didn't figure it out.
but because HH failed, we don't know that we'll be getting exactly that amount.
Well, we don't know exactly. You're correct. And nobody knows.
I know.
It could be more.
I mean, that seems excessive to me. And earlier you said, we've got a lot of money
Yes.
in there. Is this 30% gonna be put into a reserve? Or is people just gonna go wild with this now?
No.
So and I don't know if that meeting was recorded, but the way that we built our budget was anticipating that we wouldn't get a single dollar more than what we got last year. And we built into that a bunch of extra reserves, like just in case anything happens. So that our budget was extremely conservative, and it counted on us like not getting more money. And it's well laid out exactly what we're gonna do, as far as putting money into reserves, money that gets pulled out of reserves for capital expenditures, and then our operating expenditure. Our operating expenditure did go up. We increased that budget. Yeah, everything's going up. Yeah, everything's going up. So we increased that, and then, yes, we have a big reserve, but we have to keep our fire stations. So like the chief proposed a bunch of capital improvements, and he'll continue to come back to the board as he has specific plans he lays out. But it's my money too, right? I don't want to spend.
Yes, but that's a 37% increase, Jim.
So, yeah. The intent isn't to be like, oh, we just got all this money, let's go spend it all. We didn't even bank on actually getting it.
That happens quite often.
Jim, the increase is 30.
It's a lot harder for us to get away with stuff than say Congress, right? So we're not trying to pull anything fast on you.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that. I just think 30% is
37.
37%.
Well,
is
we don't know
excessive.
that
Most
for sure.
people up here would rather see something more modest. It doesn't seem like you can do that without going through initiatives or whatever. So on looking at that, I just hope that you're being responsible with this and saying we can build up reserves for something else that is gonna pop up that is very important.
Absolutely.
But I've seen that before. I mean, I've seen that with personal people getting a bunch of money and just spending it.
No,
Well,
not.
we really can't do that. So, yes.
This is the first time I've ever attended, but I was interested in the increase. And I'm just wondering, it was a bit of a shocker to kind of read that it was a huge leap, in the mill levy, and I'm still not.
Not the mill levy, it was just the property taxes.
Tax revenue change.
And what I don't understand is why isn't there like a 3-year plan, in order to, build up the reserves? That almost seems like it's more reasonable to actually swallow as a resident, that, hey, listen, we need to build up our reserves. Most businesses, even HOAs and other businesses, actually do it over a period of time. And it gives people an opportunity to kind of like, okay, I understand why this is happening. You know, when money goes into reserves, people want to know what that is. You know, what are you going to use that for? You know, who is authorized to actually withdraw those funds and use them? You know, is it one person, two people? I mean,
No.
does everybody agree?
It's the board.
It's the board. It's us.
May I ask what your name is?
Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl, I'm Niffy. I'm Niffy.
Niffy.
Good to meet you. So I serve as our treasurer. We also have a bookkeeper, Chris Creech, who volunteers to help put things together, and our chief as well as the executive really puts that budget together. We had a budget committee that existed of myself and Mr. Primer and the chief and the bookkeeper as an advisor. And what we did for the first time, because it has not been done up here, was actually making a plan that says, here's what things look like for several years. One of the silliest things just about the way things are done in Colorado is we don't know how much money we're getting until this time every year. And in fact, we won't know until next year what the actual income will be. And that's what makes it really difficult to do long range planning. And also you have boards that change over. A private board really wanted to build a new fire station up. What was it? To sell 81, tear it down, build a new one. But you know, they had plans of building up the reserve. That board is gone. All of them are gone. So it's turbulent, right? To be able to make those plans. But we're hoping with the stability of the new chief that he's looking long range and he's a partner with, you know, this community and a partner with the folks that are going to get elected to the board so that we can make those long-term plans and hopefully have some more stability. One of the things that we also talked about outside of ballot A was, can we have an auto adjusting mill levy? Okay, so just because the residential assessment rate went up or the property taxes went up insanely, did that actually change our operating costs? Probably not. So can we automatically change the mill rate down, or can we authorize the board to have just a constant funding level unless it goes to the public? Again, it's kind of a pain to get stuff on the ballot here. And I think some of our board members discovered that in looking to overturn ballot issue A, is it takes considerable effort to get things on the ballot. And that, to me, this is a representative democracy, and it's the best that you're going to get in terms of the ratio of people in this district and the number of representatives that you have. You can vote people out. And if you don't like what your board is doing, get rid of them. If you don't like what I'm doing, I will always say, hey, like, I'm here to represent you. If I'm not representing you, fire me. No problem there. And that's our biggest control over the budget and the spending is we're directly accountable to our neighbors.
And could I just add?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You want to go ahead, Steve?
Go ahead, Deb.
When this board took over, what, a year and a half ago? The prior board, I had started attending meetings, and I attended meetings for almost 2 years of board meetings. Nothing was done to keep the stations up to snuff and the equipment. There was a lot of neglect of things going on. So when we took over with our new chief, there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and that's going to be over time. When you said about incremental spending, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed to bring us up to, you know, where we should be with our equipment, with our stations everywhere, training. We have now 23 volunteer firefighters, up from 16, I think, when we took over. We want a safe community. You know it's coming. You know the fires are coming. We can't avoid it.
That's true.
And we have to have equipment and trained people to protect us. So incrementally, those changes are being made because our chief is very progressive and very knowledgeable. And that's where, you know, that's one of the things that we are addressing.
Okay, now may I have a turn?
Yes,
Sherry, is that correct, Sherry?
Cheryl.
Cheryl. My name's Steve. My concern started back when the budget committee was formed. I had spoken out to this board that it was composed of the wrong amount of people from the wrong part of the fire organization, as dictated by our bylaws. It was heavily represented in terms of the fire department. And they don't always have the best use of tax and property owners, financial at the best, desire. Now, I see that this budget for 2024 is double last year's budget, or damn close to double. It's 460,000 versus 234,000 last year. I don't argue against safety. Safety's great. You didn't have a lack of safety last, or because of a lack of money. It was because of a lack of people doing things. You can have all the money in the world, if people don't do things, you have that problem. I don't think our 2024 budget is well thought out. I don't think it was well represented, people on the budget committee. I think it was heavily weighted in terms of for the fire department. I think there's a lot of waste in here. I see it. This is my third term on the board. I'm always battling for property owners and reduced taxes. If anything, I think our tax rate is too high these days. We've got way too much money. We have not, hasn't been put to good use. And that's my position. I think this budget needs to have some serious printing done on it.
Steve,
Can I say something?
yeah,
I actually read the budget for 2024. And as just a regular homeowner, I was interested in understanding, well, if this is an increase, what is it for?
It's in the budget.
In the budget. I want to know, no.
I just want to say really quickly, the budget committee is determined by our bylaws. As the treasurer, I'm required to be the chair of that budget committee, and I can only have one other board member on it by our bylaws. Otherwise, it's a public meeting and we couldn't get anything done. Mr. Green elected not to be on that budget committee, so him complaining about the appropriate representation it's facetious.
You've been waging money.
hey, Steve, don't interrupt.
Mr. Primer was on that committee. And
He
Mr.
approved
Primer,
it.
and he went through it and he thinks it makes sense. He was a firefighter here for 30 years. We have a big increase in expenses because some of it is capital. We have a lot of deferred maintenance up here and we're just sitting on money in a bank account. That doesn't make any sense. Let's go fix our fire stations. If the two of us agree on a budget, Mr. Primer and I, you know you got something good for this community. I'll just tell you that much. So.
Exactly needs to be done with these fire stations, if they've been really neglected
Oh, they
for
have.
years.
Yes.
What is it that needs to be done in each of them, and this is why the budget is being increased. We need to address this, and this to get these fire stations.
The chief laid all of that out.
If you had been at the meeting in October, you would have heard a lot of that.
And additionally, the way the budget works is the budget is submitted at a budget hearing, and that's posted in the local newspaper, posted outside the Grange, posted on our website. That's when people come and make comments about the budget. That's the time. This budget has been approved. This budget has been approved. It hasn't been certified.
Didn't know it's approved.
It was,
You've kept me out of all emails for the last year.
oh, Steve, come on.
Sorry.
It's true.
Come on.
You know that.
Dave has been forwarding everything to
No,
you.
he doesn't.
Yes,
In
he has.
October,
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
In October, we voted to accept the budget. You weren't there.
You are completely overboard in this budget. I'm
And,
going to go on record as saying.
and further, you're right, we have to have a resolution to approve and
I thought
accept.
it was approved.
Okay,
Technically.
technically, we accepted the budget as given it and as revised. We have not yet passed a resolution affirming that this budget is our budget.
And until I
And
get,
that's what we do
You
on
don't wanna let-
January the 5th.
when the community finds out about these things, they get upset,
What,
rightfully so.
As a member of the public, I was here and asked lots of questions.
You did.
I went through many of these line items. It's unfortunate you didn't get to be involved in that conversation because you would have heard quite a bit of detail about where all the additional monies need to be going. And our new fire chief has been very verbose about what needs to be done. He tells us all the detail. So I hope we continue to come.
You need to start coming to meetings.
The priorities of
You'll hear about it if you start coming to meetings, or you can zoom in from home, Cheryl, or you can just check on the website. They'll have agendas posted, everything.
do you guys have an example of how this increase is going to affect, one family, one resident? You know,
we
with-
don't
with
know
the-
yet.
with-
Well, you subtract 55,000, then you.
And that's gonna be your tax.
Well, one thing that I think is very cool is we were told constantly by prior entities that we couldn't have a shift program or we couldn't have a resident firefighter. And what a resident firefighter provides is someone who is living full-time in our district, has all the qualifications of a firefighter, and they have instant response. Most of our firefighters, even if they live in district, they may be working in town. And then they have to drive up here from their job to go serve you. Part of this budget is improving the living quarters at one of our stations to ensure that not only do we retain the current resident that we just have, but we might encourage more in the future. That's a direct benefit to everyone in this community to have a resident firefighter. And that's something that we didn't have a year ago.
The numbers speak for themselves. They've doubled. That's never happened in the history of this canyon before. You can argue anything you want. It went from 234 to 461. That's crazy. And I think there's a lot of waste.
A
I
big
can
chunk of
identify
it-
it, but it's too lengthy to do right here.
Well,
It's waste all through there.
Anybody else? Public comment?
Anything online? I do see that folks are saying it's difficult to hear the audience members. So I apologize that I didn't see that note till now, and we could have been repeating some of the questions, but we had a pretty open dialogue this evening. Are there any other questions or comments from online? You can either type them in or come off mute. Type them in, I can read them aloud to the group. I will go ahead and state, while folks might be preparing a statement, there was a question about the cash back. And is it on all purchases or on Costco purchases? I responded through the chat that it's only on Costco purchases to get that 4% cash back. And we would not be, it's 2% for the credit card and 2% for the executive membership, only if you spend it at Costco. And we would not be authorizing the use of that credit card for anything but Costco purchases. And there's a question, well, Chris, about whether it's public comment or board action item. I think I answered that in the chat. There is a statement that Mr. Green was not present and listed as unexcused for the October budget presentation. That's just a comment. Anything else?
Anybody? Our next meeting?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
You're not a member of the public.
I'd still like to make a comment because you addressed me. I was physically threatened the last time I was in this room.
Steve, come on. That's ancient history.
I was
Ancient
physically
history.
threatened. I was attacked.
Ancient history.
That corner. So I wasn't
Move
there.
to
There's no
adjourn.
reason for it.
Okay, I appreciate all of the board and their open conversations and the amount of time that you and energy you invest for our community. I would just wanted to thank you at this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
thank you.
Our next
Appreciate you addressing me.
board meeting, as announced, will be January 5th, right here at 7 o'clock. And that will be a budget, resolution, certification, everything, hopefully.
Appropriation. There are
Appropriation,
3 resolutions
3
that will all
resolutions.
come out in one document.
Yay.
And it is the budget,
The
the
certification.
appropriation, and the certification of the mill levies.
Of the valuation.
Move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Oh, sir, can I